It is very well known that luxury can be quite expensive. That can also be said for watches. Timepieces can be as cheap as $10 or they can be as costly as $31 million. The difference in the price range is the large differential that watchmakers are offering in each watch to their clients. Some watches are so unique that there is no other type like it in the world. To the average man, Rolex watches might be the epitome of a luxurious watch, but that is simply not the case. When it comes to things like quality, price and craftsmanship, there are watches far above Rolex. One of such watches is Patek Philippe. For everyone who knows their watches, Patek Philippe watches are iconic in just about every regard. Patek Philippe was born in 1839, and he has worked so hard to establish his brand as one of the leading brands with watches. It has even earned him a spot amongst the holy trinity of watchmaking, alongside Audemars, Piguet and Vacheron and Constantin. It goes without saying that Patek Philippe watches are very expensive. So, what makes these watches so valuable? Let me tell you. Reason number 8. Heritage and status. Now, this might be one of the most superficial reasons why Patek Philippe watches are incredibly valuable. But the watches and the brand have history. The heritage that has been developed over their centuries of existence has earned them a place of honor in the watch world. Since Patek Philippe opened its doors in 1839, it's been making excellent watches. The vast amount of experience gained with the making of each watch is passed down from one generation to the other. With the incredible experience comes a great deal of expertise, which also distinguishes Patek Philippe watches from the rest. Patek Philippe has embodied their history so much that it appears in their tagline. You never actually own a Patek Philippe, you're merely taking care of it for the next generation. Some parts of the watches still make use of traditional processes that can be traced as far back as the 19th century. The art of mastery and expertise that is synonymous with Patek Philippe watches has made them the best option for royalties all over the world. A vast majority of the Patek Philippe clients are kings, queens, and nobility in several places in the world. Reason number 7. Innovation and development. Patek Philippe is considered to be one of the holy trinity watches. That alone speaks of its dedication to development and innovation. Patek Philippe is well known for its level of engineering, and you can be sure that level of expertise does not come cheap. Patek Philippe has also received at least 100 patents for their complicated inventions in horology. Some of these patents include the Cal 89, a movement that is composed of 1,728 unique parts and 39 different complications. The perpetual calendar. It automatically adjusts to the number of days in a month and the leap years. The hand-winding two-hand watch, the minute reader, and the split-second chronograph. Patek Philippe has taken the time, the dedication, and even the money to build their watches. This level of dedication must be rewarded with a high price tag on their watches. There have been several groundbreaking achievements coming out of Patek Philippe, and those achievements are still used in the watchmaking process today. Reason number 6. Craftsmanship. For a watch brand with as much well-deserved hype as the Patek Philippe brand is getting, it is only to be expected that the watches coming from the brand are high quality and exceptional watches. As a holy trinity watchmaker, a certain level of craftsmanship and quality is expected from Patek Philippe watches, and they meet those high standards with ease. The incredibly complex Patek Philippe watches are assembled and finished manually. The brand has incredibly skilled staff that dedicate a great deal of their time and effort to creating the perfect watches. The Patek Philippe watches are constructed, finished, and fine-tuned manually to provide the excellence the clients seek, and that the brand is well known for. With the labor-intensive process of making the watch, it comes as no surprise that the timepieces command such hefty fees. Each watch is made up of 252 individual parts. The top is brushed and decorated, and every plate and bridge is beveled both internally and externally. The dials go through up to 200 separate procedures, and this takes as long as 4 to 6 months to complete. The time and dedication put into making one of Patek Philippe watches is another reason why it is so expensive. Reason number 5. Quality. To further show its commitment to excellence, Patek Philippe introduced its seal back in 2008, which is called the Patek Philippe seal. This was done after Patek Philippe broke with the Geneva Seal Bureau for 123 years. The Geneva Seal Bureau creates the criteria for quality watch movements to protect the city's reputation as the home of the finest watchmaking. The Patek Philippe seal, on the other hand, creates rigid requirements that must be met in all aspects and components of the watch, in addition to the timekeeping accuracy. Patek Philippe also places a high standard on everyone it employs. From the watchmaker to the salesperson, and even the customer support service, Patek Philippe is dedicated to producing quality to its customers, and this has further increased the value of the Patek Philippe watches. Reason number 4. Exclusivity and scale. One of the simplest reasons why Patek Philippe watches are so expensive and incredibly valuable is because they're incredibly exclusive. The brand also experiences a lack of scale for them to make use of. Patek Philippe has an annual production of 50,000 timepieces, and so it cannot compete with the brands like Rolex, whose annual production is just shy of 1 million watches. It cannot also make use of the same economies of scale as the other brands. This then means that their cost per unit for parts is on the high side, and that cost is passed on to its customers. In addition, producing a limited number of watches a year means their watches are incredibly limited. This allows them to charge more than watchmakers who produce a mass amount of watches a year. The laws of economies dictate that a low supply and a high demand will only result in one thing: a high price. Making even the most basic Patek Philippe watch can take as long as 9 months, and the more complicated ones can remain in the works for as long as 2 years. The detailed production of the watches, coupled with its incredibly limited number, makes it a must-have for many watch lovers. Reason number 3. Materials. One of the most obvious reasons why Patek Philippe brands are incredibly valuable is the materials used to make these timepieces. Some Patek Philippe watches are made from stainless steel, and even these are still quite expensive. The other, more expensive Patek Philippe watches are made from precious materials and gems. While several factors like the cost of purchasing the precious materials, the fashioning of these materials, and the setting of gems are considered, it comes as no surprise that Patek Philippe watches are as expensive as they are. The other factors that drive up the prices of Patek Philippe watches to put into consideration are the supply chain, security, logistics, storage, the employment of skilled jewelers, among others. The materials used in the making of Patek Philippe watches are one of the major reasons why the watches are incredibly expensive. Reason number 2. Influence. The Patek Philippe watches are incredibly valuable and incredibly beautiful timepieces. The watches are created by a brand that caters to the needs of the rich and the powerful. Some of the wealthiest people in the world hold Patek Philippe watches in such high regard. The watches are worn by many of the world's highly influential people, and even A-list celebrities. Many hip-hop and rap artists also make references to Patek Philippe watches, which are a symbol of money and power. Some of the most famous and historical people to own a Patek Philippe watch are the Beatles, Brad Pitt, Walt Disney, Albert Einstein, Pablo Picasso, Nelson Mandela, Prince Charles of Wales, and Queen Elizabeth II. Reason number 1. Value. Patek Philippe watches have one thing over so many other brands. They have a good resale value. The Patek Philippe watches are considered to be a good investment because the value of the watches increases over time. A quick glance at the market and you will see modern or vintage Patek Philippe watches on the secondary market for outstanding prices. A good example of this is the 1970 Nautilus, which goes for over $50,000 more than its original retail value of fewer than $3,000. The perpetual chronographs from the 2499/100 4th series now cost over $400,000 today. Back in the 1980s, that same watch was sold for less than $20,000. You can also see the retail value of Patek Philippe watches in the vintage timepieces like the 5131 Cloisonné enamel, which sold for over $4 million more at auction than in retail. Patek Philippe watches are considered to be the gold standard when it comes to timepieces, and for good reason too. With its use of top-notch materials to its dedication to excellence, it is no wonder that the brand is so valuable. So, tell me, are you lucky enough to be the owner of a Patek Philippe? Let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, you can let us know by clicking that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and be sure to press the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Goodbye, Lux Cats. Until next time.